Hello people, in this video let us look at the examination of cranial nerves. Let's start with the first cranial nerve, the olfactory nerve. So you'll have to check the sense of smell. So basically you can see here how the anatomy of olfactory nerve is. So where is the olfactory bulb? Here's the olfactory bulb, olfactory nerve. So this is much higher up your brainstem, etc., isn't it? So you will check the sense of smell. So you'll check each nostril separately, etc., and then you will interpret it, anosmia, and then some syndromes associated with that, right? Then if there's increased olfactory acuity, that he's able to have a very good sense of hyperemesis gravidarum or mucoviscidosis or strychnine poisoning. Premonitory phase of migraine. So before migraine they can smell a lot. Okay, so if you want to smell nicely, you can ask. You have to get all those problems. Foul smell, cacosmia, parosmia, olfactory hallucinations, etc. So now let us move on to the second cranial nerve, guys. That is the optic nerve. So you'll have to check what here? Visual acuity, visual fields, color vision, pupillary responses, and you'll have to inspection of the optic nerve head. This you can do only in fundus examination, right? And fundus by ophthalmoscopy. So don't go this far, but at least do this much, right? So this is your typical Snellen's chart, and here is your confrontation technique. So how will you check visual field, isn't it? This is testing of visual field. This is your visual field defects. So you will have to tell how much field defect is there, where exactly the lesion could be, etc. If you may have to go into that much detail. Let's hope the patient can see well. Okay. Then, if they have monoocular visual loss, if they have binocular visual loss, what are the causes? All this you should know. Then, color vision you will check. Don't do anything very much in detail, but at least basically you can check. Right? This is Ishihara's chart. This is fundus examination, is it? Ophthalmoscopy. Fine. So you got the idea about how to examine second cranial nerve, that's optic nerve. Now let us move to third cranial nerve. What is the third cranial nerve, guys? Where is it? Okay, here it is. So this is the oculomotor nerve. So oculomotor, the trochlear which is 4th, the abducens which is 6th. That is the 3rd, 4th and 6th. They are checking at a time. This is nothing but ocular movement. Okay, so can they move the eyes properly? Fine. What will you exactly check? You will inspect the eye, size of palpebral fissure. Then you look for ptosis. Then this is gaze, isn't it? Gaze you're checking. Ocular movements and the muscles which help in that. Then size of pupils. All this you have to check, guys. What is this test here? Testing for consensual light reflex. And this is for accommodation reflex. So all this you'll have to check for 3rd, 4th and 6th cranial nerve. Okay. They are looking for nystagmus also, guys. So then let's move on. There's a lot. Now let's move on to the one that got missed in between. That is the 5th cranial nerve. This is the trigeminal nerve. So this is how we write 5, right? 5th cranial nerve. Trigeminal nerve. So what does this do? Sensation, right? So you will have to check for sensation. Where? Face, right? Face. So let's look how to check for 5th cranial nerve, guys. This is the cutaneous distribution of the 5th nerve. So they are checking for, they're palpating the masseters, checking for conjunctival reflex, corneal reflex. They are checking for jaw reflex. Jaw reflex comes in jaw jerk. It's called jaw jerk, is it? It's not called reflex, is it? Jaw jerk. So what happens in herpes zoster ophthalmicus? See, the trigeminal is affected, isn't it? The ophthalmic division of the 5th cranial nerve is affected. Anyways, now let's move on to the 7th cranial nerve, guys. Take a break. Which book are we looking at? We are looking at Alagappan, Practical Manual of Medicine. We are looking now at the 7th cranial nerve. That's the facial nerve. How will you check? We'll observe the face for symmetry and blinking, eye closure, spasms of the facial musculature. Then you're asking them to clench the teeth, blow out of the cheeks, resist the attempt to open the eye. You are going to open the eye. They should resist it. Raise the eyebrows. So all these are testing the motor functions of facial nerve. How to check the sensory functions of the motor nerve? Of the facial nerve. The tongue kept protruded, should not be allowed to. So we'll check taste, it seems. Taste. Wow. Anterior 2/3. That is the chorda tympani, is it? And you know what? This facial nerve also has secretory function. So lacrimation, some Schirmer's test, that is that dry eye you can check, right? Nasolacrimal reflex, salivation, increased or decreased, you can ask for it. So you will check for all this, we already told you. So you have to pay attention to Bell's palsy, etc. Now guys, let's move on to the 8th cranial nerve. We're almost at the end, guys, don't worry. 8th cranial nerve, vestibulocochlear nerve. So obviously vestibulo means something to do with balance, and then this one will be something to do with hearing, right? So basically now you will check for auditory function, right? Watch test, can they hear the watch, is it? Tuning fork test, Rene's test, then Weber's test, all this you will do. See, this is Weber's test, keeping on the midline, bony midline. Then this is Rene's test, right? So all this you would have learnt in ENT. So you'll have to do these tests. Then you can do audiometric tests like pure tone audiometry and all. If you have all the technology, you can send frequencies of pure tones and ask them whether they hear or not, at which decibels they can hear, etc. Speech discrimination, loudness, etc. Guys, are you focusing? Now let's move on to vestibular function test. Vestibular function means you will check for fistula sign. That is, if there is some if there's a fistula, then the pressure will get transmitted to the vestibule, right? Is that what I'm saying? Is vestibule correct? Labyrinth. Directly transmitted to the membranous labyrinth. Membranous labyrinth. The pressure will go if there's a fistula, right? So this will show you that there is some fistula, etc. Then doll's eye movement, positional vertigo, then nystagmus. Caloric testing is that putting hot and cold water in the ear. I don't think we'll do all this, but anyways, how to test you should know. That's it, isn't it? But practically exactly how you check, that also they should write. Okay. So what lesions are you looking for? What can it lead to? Any lesion with this vestibulocochlear, vestibular neuronitis, Meniere's disease can lead to, etc. Right? Shall we move on, guys? 9th and 10th cranial nerve. Very good. 9th and 10th cranial nerve together they have put it. So 9 and 10, we just have 2 more to go, 11 and 12, right? So glossopharyngeal nerve and vagus nerve. Glossopharyngeal nerve, I can only think about the taste and sensation in the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Okay, glossopharyngeal. Then palatal reflex. Okay. Then gag reflex. Then what else are we looking for? What about this one, vagus? They are tested together, they are saying. Did they say specifically? Only 3 tests they have told here. General sensation and taste of posterior 1/3 of tongue, palatal reflex, and we can see here gag reflex. Okay. So they're together, they're saying 9th and 10th cranial nerve. Okay. Then coming to 11th cranial nerve, guys, that is the accessory nerve. This is a motor nerve. It will supply the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius. So basically, if there is lesion in this, you should know where the lesion will be. Did they mark it? There's something like spinal accessory nerve and all, right? Have they marked it here? Anyways, look at how to test this. Turning the head against resistance. This is sternocleidomastoid and something else, right? Trapezius, they said. Shrug the shoulders against resistance. Now let's go to the last one, guys. That is the 12th cranial nerve. That is the hypoglossal nerve. So where is this nucleus? Hypoglossal is here. So this is hypoglossal. The hypoglossal, something to do with the tongue, isn't it? Look at this. Look for deviation in the protruded tongue, abnormal movement of tongue. Then Each half of the tongue you will assess the strength. For half of tongue. Nice. So there will be again in this LMN palsy, UMN palsy, for everything it is there, is it? So that's it guys. We have looked at the cranial nerves. So if there is multiple cranial nerve palsy, what will you do? It can happen, right? Multiple cranial nerve palsies can be there.